The nonprofit model is just a different business model. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's better, you know? I don't really want to fundraise because there's still like this responsibility to this other entity, right? This organization. My mission is to get people to step up their game, to really think about their future, to feel empowered and really passionate about what they want to do next. And not necessarily because it is a paycheck, but it's really to empower people in the direction that they want to grow and develop.
Hello, and welcome to Power Beyond Pride, a weekly queer change-making podcast bringing you voices and ideas from across our fierce and fabulous spectrum to transform our world. I'm Daniel W.K. Lee, poet, author, and Wesley Willis B-side.
And I'm Kenyon Farrow, writer and activist, and your favorite Butch Queen's favorite Butch Queen.
Love that one.
The truth. But anyway, we're not here for that. We're here because we are your co-hosts on today's Queercast journey. In this episode, we are talking to Noris Chavarría, a certified leadership coach, a queer Salvadorian powerhouse rooted in Los Angeles and New York City. Noris uses his leadership and authenticity to build communities that support queer men of color. He is the founder of Queer Compass Coaching and Leadership Institute and the Bloom Collective. Welcome, Noris.
Hi, everyone. Oh my God, it's so nice to see you, at least virtually. Thank you for having me.
Good.
We're excited, incredibly excited to have you on the podcast and to be able to share your incredible work with the community. Tell our audience a little bit about you, where you come from, how you were raised, and what propelled you from the various cities that you've lived in and then to Los Angeles, where you are now.
I was actually born in LA. So 40 something years ago, I was born here in Los Angeles in General Hospital. And then my dad passed when I was one. My mom wanted to restart her life. So she just took me as a 1-year-old kid and we started a life in New York. We landed in Queens, which is my home. New York City and Queens specifically is my hometown. A very diverse place, the typical having neighbors of all backgrounds kind of thing. My mom's from El Salvador. She raised me by herself, single widow mom. My job was pretty much to be a good student. Seeing my mom really struggle and just be treated poorly by any white person pretty much in New York. That was like kind of what inspired me to look out and do better and go to school and use the tools that were available to me. I grew up in the hood in Jamaica, Queens. And so my resources within my environment were limited. One of my tickets out of there was I went to Cardozo High School, which is further out in Bayside. And so that kind of started like the whole opening up to new opportunities, new resources, new individuals. So I went to Tufts, which is in Boston. My thought was really to be a pediatrician. I really love kids. I just love how, they absorb so much information and nurturing them and really just taking my mom as an example of teaching me and all of that. So I really wanted kids and I really want to work with kids. I went to pre-med, didn't really pan out the way that I wanted it to pan out. I struggled in college. The same thing that I did so well in high school didn't necessarily translate into college, though I did lead all of my chem session. Like I did the whole thing. But when it came down to tests, I just flowed. Which I know that resonates with a lot of people because a lot of my clients, same thing, performance anxiety, ADHD, all the things, right? I had the idea that once I graduated from this school, that jobs were kind of dropped. People would just be sending me here's a job. And that didn't happen, right? And so I decided to move back to New York. When I moved back to New York, I think that's probably what I actually met you, Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 2006, 7-ish or something like that. I was working LGBT and HIV work. I started with volunteer work, doing handing out condoms, if people remember condoms from back in the day. The outreach packets and stuff like that. What that ended up doing is that ended up being a resource that I could tap into New York. So I ended up doing groups. I ended up doing HIV testing, counseling, all that HIV work within New York, within the Latino community. But then New York was my playground. And so I didn't necessarily want to mix work and pleasure. And I found myself going to clubs and doing the outreach and all that stuff. And the same people that I would want to be in community with or hang out with and meet, the same people are passing out condoms with, that I'm actually working with, that I'm doing HIV testing with. And that wasn't kind of like my vibe. I was just like, so I ended up going to the back end of things. I was really good with people. So I ended up doing all the marketing, the development, being the face of the organizations. And that kind of that I think is what got me into what I am right now. Kind of thing. The external facing, people approach me. I currently work in coaching and community builder. All my HIV and LGBT work contributed to what I'm doing right now, which is community building. Some people call it networking. I call it community building because I think networking is a little stale, but it's really building bridges, building genuine connections with individuals, and helping community and whatever they're going through.
Part of you narrating that part of your early story, talking about kind of your beginning to work in nonprofits, and you've been very public about experiencing nonprofit burnout, which is something that I am not so public about, but I certainly can relate to at this point in my life. So in retrospect, what are things about the work that you caution other people, and maybe you're speaking directly to me in this moment, to be mindful of, so that they might kind of experience their passion or learn what their passion is and conviction, and turn that passion into their daily sort of commitment and not their resentment?
Great question. Something that frames me in any capacity. So a nonprofit or for profit, obviously there are different rewards, right? The different reward systems in both. Is that there's always going to be work. There will always be work. So while there are emergencies that happen, right? Work is always going to exist. And so don't bring it home. That it's easier said than done, right? At times when you are attached to work. But you have to take care of yourself because no one else will. The nonprofit is not going to, there might be exceptions, but that is not a rule, right? That is not an obligation of theirs to do. You have the obligation to take care of yourself. So once you become overwhelmed and start taking that work home, I think that's like a red flag for me. Another red flag is, and I see this all the time on social, and it just cringe, I guess is the word, the whole family thing. We're a family.
Lies, and more lies.
Dangerous. It's dangerous. It's kind of like scope creep. It's like they're trying to massage something to kind of get you to do other shit.
Yeah, I was going to say it's manipulative to me.
Yeah.
And for some of us, families already traumatizing. So to bring in like, oh damn, now like I have to depend on this family to get paid and pay my bills, and it's just, I'm good. And so that's a red flag for me when that language starts to creep in there.
Absolutely. You've made a really, I think, a great transition just from your education and your skill set from what you've done before to professional certified coaching. What has been so appealing to you that you kind of like, you redirected really kind of everything you've done professionally before that to this work?
Well, everything about working for myself is appealing to me. I am so over working for someone else. One thing a challenge that I kept running into is that a lot of the nonprofit organizations were run by white women, and my role was fundraising. And so a lot of those circles, I was just like, I couldn't fit in. I knew there were a lot of gatekeeping and things. So it wasn't meant for me, or I kept hitting that thing and I didn't want to keep doing that. What kind of turned my whole life around a little bit, or shook it, I would say, is during the pandemic, I was one of those that my employer actually had good mental health benefits. So my last employer was a nonprofit that serves the Latino population in San Francisco with mental health services. And during the pandemic, we're all like cooped up and stuff. I reached out to the whole health insurance thing, which is all confusing. finally got a provider. So I went in there because my boss didn't know her boundaries. She would call me at all hours, after hours, during a pandemic. We didn't even know what time it was, right? And I'm like, why is she calling me? Like, and a lot of things that could have been an email and stuff. And she just had me on edge all the time, plus the environment that we're in. And I was just like, let me just reach out to, it's like, I have some kind of anxiety, I have some kind of something. Let me see if I'm bipolar or I don't know. I go in there, and then in my second visit, they did my psychiatrist did evaluation. And so I was diagnosed with ADHD. At the age of like 48, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is what this whole thing has been. Attention, like stimulus, all the things. I would honestly request, I wanted to work from home permanently because noise, I work with, given the situations that we were in COVID, we did a lot of writing, a lot of, emails, all that kind of stuff. And so I need quiet. I was not given that. And so I was like, oh, can I just work from home now that I have this diagnosis, right? They denied it my second year. My first year, there was there was an executive director there that was actually on the way out. So I think they were just like, sure. Then the new person came in and they were like, no, work is you in the office. And they completely ignored like I was like, oh, so you didn't read the letter. I was just like, okay, so got it. So that was like my kind of awakening where they're like, oh, they don't really care about you. I took some time off. I was able to take some 3 months off. And that's when the whole thing kind of started, where there was like friction because they wanted something from me. And I was like, that sounds like you want me to do work. And I'm not working right now. I'm not getting paid. I'm on leave. And so that's where like the friction kind of started. And that's really when their true colors kind of came out. And at the time, I was also seeing a coach. So I was like, what do I do next? There's this hostile environment that I don't want to go back to. And I don't know what else to do. And that's when the coach the very simple question was, well, why don't you do it for yourself?
Yeah. So I want you to hold that thought. We're going to take a quick short break, and we're going to hear more about you starting to work on your own. So to our audience out there, please stay with us for our continued conversation with Noris, and we'll be right back.
Your mission is vital. Let a great idea help you magnify its impact. As a queer-owned graphic design and digital development agency serving nonprofits, healthcare, and education nationwide since 2015, we're dedicated to growing, empowering, and activating your advocates. Our award-winning work speaks for itself. We deliver transformative change. Ready to see your impact grow? Book a session and let's get started at agreatidea.com. That's agreatidea.com.
Hey, this is Sean Aaron, he, him, his, and I'm here to tell you about Them Boys Podcast. I'm the host of Them Boys Podcast, and as a Black queer trans man, the podcast amplifies the voices of other trans men of color as we share our transition stories. The podcast not only amplifies the voices of trans men of color, but it raises awareness and conversations around our lived experiences. You can listen to the podcast by going to themboys.org/podcast. That's DEMBOIS.org/podcast. I hope to have you join us on the next episode.
Welcome back. This is Power Beyond Pride, a queer change-making podcast, and I'm Daniel W.K. Lee here with my co-host Kenyon Farrow, talking with Noris Chavarría. We just want to go back to how you got started, how you got from your own coach to becoming a coach.
So one of the key questions that kind of flipped my world was when my coach approached me, because I was like frustrated. I was frustrated in that this is not the best situation to go back to. My workplace was just being hostile. It was like a mess. And post-COVID, like work and what to do next. That's when I had the conversation with my coach. I remember just in that moment, I was about to say, I can't, but I couldn't get myself to say it. I think that before, I was just so caught up in the details of having your own business, working for yourself, all the taxes, all these steps that I didn't even bother looking in that direction to build myself. And with this question, things just felt digestible. It's like, okay, well, where else to go from here? Right? And then the other thing is like, no one can take away all those things that I had acquired, that I learned, that I have. Me, one thing that when I would interview is I would always say, I'm a producer first, I make things happen. And it's really just me, the key to, like when I was in that hiring process. And so this is a chance for me to prove to myself, right, that I could do it. And so I started first with fundraising consulting. And in that process, I just wanted to, fundraising for me was the end, the job to kind of pay my bills. I kind of think I'm really good with people. So I have great conversations, and then they fall in love with the cause, the mission of wherever I used to work. Within that, I think that my identity was also attached to nonprofit as a whole, and nonprofit being equated to doing good. And I didn't see nonprofit as just a business model, where now I do see it as a business model. And that also has helped me kind of detach myself from being so Kenyon, to your question before, that's another way that I'm able to kind of detach myself from the work, knowing that if I work at a nonprofit, the nonprofit model is just a different business model. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's better, But in my head, I thought it was better because I was doing good, and that's how they brainwashed me, kind of thing. And so in this process, starting my fundraising consulting business was my first kind of step. And then that step, I was like, well, I don't really want to fundraise, because there's still like this responsibility to this other entity, right? This organization. But what I would rather do is help people get to that point that I was in, and for people to feel liberated in their choices and growing wherever they want to grow. A lot of people aren't asked the same question that I was asked. A lot of people don't have coaches, right? A lot of people don't have certain resources that I was given. And so that's really the root of what I want to do, which my mission is to get people to, obviously people who want to step up their game, to really think about their future, to feel empowered and really passionate about what they want to do next. And not necessarily because it is a paycheck, but it's really to empower people in the direction that they want to grow and develop.
Very cool. So given the current political climate, what would you say is one or two of the most pressing threats to liberation, frankly, and even just well-being of the communities that you're connected to answer?
Whew. Oh my gosh.
No.
I would say, so given, I'm like, which situation? There's so many situations out there right now. Locally, let's say with the ICE raids here in Los Angeles, I think finding the right community is something that my work tries to do. And it's this conundrum because I promote on social media, which is where my people are, right? But social media also promotes other things. And I also want people to get off social media to connect one-on-one. So there are a lot of kind of factors in there. But I think that finding your own community and finding the right community for yourself that kind of takes you outside of those circles, that mental state, because I feel that being glued to social media, being glued to media in general, just keeps you in this like low frequency where you're just stuck there, kind of thing. So finding those spaces where you're not depending on those things, which again is this conundrum because technology, that's how we get information, but we need to kind of get more of the human connection. The other piece of it was like the media, just really not, or curating how you receive the media, where you receive the media, because that also just keeps people in a certain mental state.
I'd like to circle back. I mean, it seems really quickly about kind of like the work that you've been doing and like addressing or creating spaces for opportunities for more empowerment, which I think is, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, is like reason and the purpose of the Bloom Collective. Am I right? Why don't you tell us a little bit more about like, what kind of animated you to kind of start something like that, which is kind of in a way that part of pulling, especially or specifically, gay men of color offline to make community, right?
Yeah. So it kind of started as a social experiment, to be honest, post-election. So post-election, one thing that I try to do, obviously I'm aware of so many things that can happen and uncertainty. But what I wanted to do is get people out of that mental place to a place of community where people could actually focus on each other and real people and make those genuine connections, not to have to worry about that noise out there, at least for an hour, And so I started doing that in November, post-election, and that was virtual. And people joined from everywhere, kind of thing. Everyone really loved it. They connected. I did them 4 times a month. So as you can imagine, there are many connections made. And now I'm doing it in person. So this weekend, actually, I'm going to have the second in-person Connect and Cultivate, which is the name of the event here in LA. And the idea is really to get people outside of isolation. A lot of us work remotely. And because I was doing this virtually, we were pulling people from everywhere, and the people who joined had the comfort of being able to join at that time. And so with this, I wanted to do 2 things. I wanted to bring people together in a non-traditional environment. So no bars, no alcohol, early. So this is at 10 a.m. Kind of get your day started, your weekend started on a positive note, get to meet other individuals that are working in different industries or transitioning. This is really just like a space for individuals who are in transition, whether LA is a new place, whether remote work is a new thing for them, whether they're looking for a job, or they're in this place of transition that they can't really, it's hard to find people who are in the same kind of spot as you are, right? And so creating the space is really a place for people to just meet each other, connect genuinely. This is why I take the networking word out of it, because I think networking is very stale. And when you say networking, it's like, oh, I got to talk about work, or that's automatically for me at least, and the labels. And then what do I say when I meet someone, and what's my pitch, or all those kind of things. With this, I removed all that kind of anxiety. I did actually share an article, kind of like the recipe for the event, but it's mostly creative. Come as you are, be you. There's no label, there's no like name tags or anything that I provide, but people do make those connections and remember people's names. People listen. I bring a topic that's a hot topic kind of thing. This one is going to be your summer soul. So connecting with your summer goals. How's that going to lead to the end of year? If you have any end of year goals, but it's really centering what your needs are, what your wants are. And then also the community around you that also have very similar ambitious goals. If maybe they want a new job, or maybe they want to raise, or they want to grow in some way. But the bars aren't necessarily, finding your people is hard. And so finding in the bar is a very different environment than finding people in the right mental state at 10 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday.
Before we take a quick break in a minute, but I just want to ask one quick question. You describe yourself as neurodivergent. And so if you could talk a little bit about that, self-discovery and how it shaped starting new work on your own or operating in the world in general.
Yeah. So my ADHD diagnosis it allowed me I'm also taking medication now, which has also been a great resource for myself. It has done, and if anyone knows this or has ADHD, this might resonate with them. Time is completely different on medication for me. For taking medication, I take it when I need it. I would wake up at 7 in the morning. I would literally blink and it was 11. In those 4 hours, I did nothing. I had no idea where time went. Now medication, it just compartmentalizes time. I'll be able to see 7 to 8, 8 to 9 kind of thing, and I can divvy up my work that way. The other thing about the diagnosis for me has been that I understand, there were some in fundraising, right? In my role in fundraising, there were some things that were very tedious that they're just not for me, thing. So I was able to kind of, okay, like that's not for me. I'm better at meeting people, individuals, but you give me an Excel sheet, no, thank you. Like that is not for me, kind of thing. And or to that tedious, repetitive thing that it does get me somewhere, but that tedious thing I can delegate for another day, or to kind of, I don't have to use my creative energy that I'm like super excited to. I'm not excited for an Excel sheet. So just understanding my brain and how it works and how my energy flows during the day has been really helpful with the diagnosis. That's, yeah. Also, I mean, not to go to my past, but it also had made a lot of sense of growing up, testing in general, any kind of exams, just like the time crunch, all those little things. I knew the material, but in performing, or executing in the moment, that was not me. So just like better understanding myself and how I work and giving myself credit and giving myself the pause and practicing self-compassion. Okay, well, that's not you. So good job doing it up to wherever you could.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's time to take a short break. Please stay with us for our continued conversation with Noris Chavarría.
Tired of the same old advocacy advice? Get ready for a fresh perspective with The Idealist, the monthly newsletter from A Great Idea. We're the queer-owned agency that's been sparking change since 2015. Each month, The Idealist delivers a unique and inspiring approach to advocacy building straight from innovators across the country. Fuel your passion and discover new ways to grow, empower, and activate your community. Subscribe to The Idealist. It's your monthly dose of inspiration. Sign up for free at agreatidea.com/idealist. That's agreatidea.com/idealist.
Are you looking for a way to make your philanthropy more meaningful and more aligned with social justice? Meet New Moon Network. New Moon helps individuals, institutions, and foundations move their dollars where they matter most, into grassroots movements advancing the rights and self-determination of people in the sex trade. If you're a funder ready to move in solidarity with sex workers and survivors, this is your invitation to come learn about our movement and help fund meaningful advancement for sex workers' rights. Reach out to us today at contact@newmoonfund.org and take the next step toward funding with purpose.
Welcome back. This is Power Beyond Pride, a queer change-making podcast, and I'm Daniel W.K. Lee here with my co-host Kenyon Farrow, talking to Noris Chavarría. I'd like to circle back to your background as a queer Salvadoran American. What personal experiences, or perhaps lack of specific experiences, that have led you to focus most of your work on cultivating community or self-cultivation of queer men of color?
Yeah, I would say it's the latter, which is a lack of. Professionally, I work with my community, but I don't think that I experienced the camaraderie. It always felt hostile.
Mm,
It was
yeah.
always competition. I never really saw it as collaborative.
Mm.
And not that I didn't see it as collaborative. I just felt the environments weren't collaborative for me, kind of thing. I've always kind of felt like an outsider, and maybe that's like on my own thinking. When I moved back to New York, for example, I was doing community work, and not a lot of my peers had gone to college, kind of thing. And so I think my supervisors or whoever could have done a better job of integrating teams, getting to know each other, because then I think that kind of built onto more resentment within organizations with my coworkers and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why I like working with organizations, to bring that collaborative aspect so that people can bond, outside of their roles, and that people understand that we're all, human, we're in this together kind of thing, as opposed to titles, kind of that whole title battle thing. Because even, the story for me, I always had the coordinator position. I remember never being able to get to manager or director up until when I moved to fundraising. And I was always resentful of her. Get the same people got those positions, and I was there, and there was no communication. I was like, no sense to me. So that's one thing. I want people to view the work that we do, especially if we work in community, as collaborative in that way, and just having a positive spirit and building people up. That camaraderie of building people up. And the second thing is just knowing that we exist, just bringing people together. I love bringing people together. If you know me, I love bringing people together for a party, whether it's my house or a community big party in San Francisco that I used to throw. But I just like people to meet each other and to know that there are other people like them and to share space. Like there's so much beauty, and I'm only one person, so I can't necessarily do like the one intro kind of thing. But if everyone can kind of join in the space, that's so beautiful to have so many brown people, so many Black and brown people in one space, right? Just having fun, building each other up, and really bringing that positive energy. And oh, I can help you with this. I know so-and-so. That collaborative thing is one of my goals with the Bloom Collective.
So looking ahead from your perspective, what are some of the changes in queer activism that you think need to happen to move the needle forward in this particular moment that we're in, around issues like immigration status or other things?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things. One thing that's top of mind is ICE here, really partnering with organizations. As much as I say that a nonprofit thing, but there are nonprofits out there that are experts, getting the resources from them within their whatever the local areas are of individuals listening to this, getting the resources, how they can help individuals. During the ICE raids, there's a lot of also disinformation out there. So I would just say to get the right information. And that's why these organizations are leaders in terms of information. Yeah. And each location is so different. New York, I haven't heard much, for example, in New York, what's happening in New York with the raids, if there are anything like that. But education is key. That's probably that's the biggest thing, because I feel like people are so glued to their phones and just the repetitive nature of media in that. So just get your facts straight.
So this is the last section of the conversation, which is one of my favorites. So it's a speed round, essentially, where we get to know you even better.
All right.
Don't give it too much thought. Just kind of let your reptilian brain take over. And I'll ask the first question. Well, first of all, are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. This is a question because I recently saw, I think it was a story or maybe it was a TikTok, and you kind of left it open. So I'm going to ask you directly. Do you believe in love hangovers?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to explain that a little bit?
Yeah. I want to know more, but.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you just give all this like great energy, you spend so much great time with someone. And in my posts, I actually my mom was visiting me just this 2 weeks ago for a week. And I live by myself with my dog, and just having that connection. This happens to be when I host these events, when I host the parties, where you're just like, in it, you're like up there, you're on this high, you meet new people, and then you go home. I mean, depending if you go home with the person, but when the person leaves or the people leave, it's done, and then you're like, it's Monday. Kind of like that Monday feeling.
Over, yes. All right. Thirst trap or thirst quench?
Oh, trap.
Work. What was your favorite LGBTQ event or party in New York City?
Oh,
You can go way back.
I know. I'm going back in my mind to my days, right?
I really like PS1.
When
they have the summer. They have the summer thing.
Yeah.
And then now I'm going to add some other like Brooklyn party outdoor spaces where they have music and you can meet people, and definitely in the summer where you're wearing like almost nothing.
Just hanging out at the pier.
Right.
Okay. What's like LGBTQ, gay or queer movie that is bad, right? It's terrible, but you love it anyway.
I'm thinking, is it, but I'm just a cheerleader?
Oh, but I'm a cheerleader. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's
But I'm a cheerleader.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that movie too.
When I first watched it, I was so confused. It was so camp. It is so camp that I was just like, is this real?
I love good cake.
All right. Next question. Open relationships, cool with them or ice them out?
I'm cool with them.
All right. Pupusas or pizza?
Pupusas. Yes, pupusas.
What's one thing that you can do differently tomorrow?
I can. Oh my gosh. You like.
That's a question that sounds like a question that would be in the Bloom Collective.
I know. Like, wait, what can I do better tomorrow? I can be better at not being so hard on myself.
Favorite vacation destination?
Generally, anything with a beach, any warm, sunny beach place. So I'll take any place like that. Though Brazil, Florianopolis would be the spot.
Right.
Excellent. The biggest lesson that you've learned recently?
I think the biggest lesson I've learned recently is to really cherish the moment. I recently lost my 18-year-old dog. I didn't realize how much I would miss her. And from one day to another, she wasn't there. So yeah, just being present and enjoying the moment that we're here, because nothing's permanent, right? So
what's a favorite nickname that you used to be called or that you can share in polite company is what or not.
I don't think, or not.
Damn it.
Well, I like to call it branding, but Nico used to be, which is still my Facebook name because I can't change it. I try to change it to my real name, but it won't allow me, which is fine. But Nico used to be my go-go dancing name. And that's how it all started in Boston when I was, working with youth and stuff. So
that's how I met you as Nico years ago. First time I heard Noris, I was like, who the fuck is that? Like, I had no idea.
Well, when I moved to San Francisco, I wanted to rebrand Noris. So I was like, Noris. And lo and behold, I saw some queen on the street. They're like, Nico. And I'm like, and then my friends are like, Nico? Who's Nico? And I'm like, can't escape it.
So with someone from Boston, that explains the origins, which is my question. So where can people follow you and your work?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm very active there. Social art activista. So like social activist, but social artivist with the A at the end. Also, my more work related is Queer Compass Coach on Instagram. And you can also follow the Bloom Collective for events that I'm currently working on.
That's excellent. Thank you for taking the time to share your experience, your history, your story. I want to thank you so much for joining us, Noris. But yes, we are out of time.
Yes, I also want to say thank you, Noris. So everybody follow Noris, him and his thirst traps at Social Artista or Queer Compass. Follow both of those. And in closing, I am your co-host, Kenyon. And you can follow me at my socials. Mine are generally easy. The ones I want y'all to know about anyway. Just my name, Kenyon, at Kenyon Farrow, all the things.
And I'm your co-host, Daniel, poet and author of Anatomy of Want. And you can follow me at Daniel W.K. Lee on Blue Sky or Strong Plum on Instagram. Remember to subscribe and get your friends just to subscribe to Power Beyond Pride on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, and check out our website at powerbeyondpride.com.
Power Beyond Pride is a project of A Great Idea, a queer-owned design and content agency. Learn more about them at agreatidea.com.
This episode is produced by Shane Lucas. Simita Sarkar is the project developer. Our editor is Jarrett Redding, and with support from Ian Wilson.
We are both part of this podcast, Awesome Host Team, and we invite you to send in your questions and comments to powerbeyondpride.com.
And check out our new episodes each week, and we look forward to queer change making with you next time. Thank you from all of us at Power Beyond Pride.
Your mission is vital. Let a great idea help you magnify its impact. As a queer-owned graphic design and digital development agency serving nonprofits, healthcare, and education nationwide since 2015, we're dedicated to growing, empowering, and activating your advocates. Our award-winning work speaks for itself. We deliver transformative change. Ready to see your impact grow? Book a session and let's get started at agreatidea.com. That's agreatidea.com. Community organizers, are you ready to unlock new levels of impact? A Great Idea is offering a fantastic collection of free downloadable tools, helpful white papers, and so much more. As a queer-owned graphic design and digital development agency empowering change since 2015, we're dedicated to providing you with the resources you need to grow, empower, and activate your communities. Discover insightful knowledge and practical tools to enhance your work. Explore A Great Idea's free resources today at agreatidea.com/insights. That's agreatidea.com/insights.